Hey folks, my name is Jürgen, aka Nerd and Proud of It, and Destiny has brought you to my channel today so I can show you the reveal of Jeff A. Menges' Flame of the First Ones. It is an absolute fantastic painting for the Sorcery TCG, and it was revealed during SorceryFest. In case you missed it, I got a detailed look at the reveal for the people, the players, and the attendees of the show, and I also have the reveal of the live stream that was done during SorceryFest from a little bit of a different angle. I think it's definitely worth checking out this painting, and I personally can't listen to what Jeff has to say about it again. There are, before we jump to the painting, just a quick one, there are a couple of videos coming up, a couple of live streams coming up actually, because it is my 4th anniversary on YouTube with the channel. More than 1,000 videos, it's crazy. I just had a look at it. I gave you the opportunity to choose the video of tonight last night, and a lot of people voted. I think almost 40 people voted for Jeff Menges', I have to say it correctly, Flame of the First Ones. So a lot of people wanted the sorcery reveal despite having had a couple of sorcery videos over the last few days. As SorceryFest happened, of course, we have a lot of content coming out of SorceryFest. That's logical, so there will be more. But I also, I don't have to forget to breathe, but I also want to say that there will be live streams with a lot of cool guests for my 4th anniversary. And yeah, it's late again, folks. Forgive me. And I also have a really cool Magic the Gathering video with Jeff Menges, actually, with a nice piece of Magic the Gathering artwork coming up. And I also have a very interesting talk with current writer of the Fantastic Four, big name at Marvel, Ryan North. And yeah, not a lot of you voted for Ryan, but that talk for the comic fans out there is actually a very interesting one. So that's definitely coming up very soon as well. Let's jump to Jeff Menges' Flame of the First Ones. Flame of the First Ones, yeah, right. It's flames? No, flame. I think he explained to me that it was flame, not flames. We will hear in the video as well.
Okay, Jeff, just first, before you spoil everything, I was wondering, is there any kind of special story behind this art?
It's a figurative painting, and that is not something that comes easy to me or natural to me. Normally, I'm known for landscapes more than anything else. I do a lot of environment for both buildings and outside structures. But this painting needed to be very heavy on the figure. And I live in a very rural area. There's not a lot of folks around me. So when you're in that situation, you have to rely on who you have available to be a model. And that was me.
So a self-portrait.
It is. There's always a lot of speculation about characters in my work, like the Plowman and Aiden Oakenshield and this guy and that guy, and how much they might look like me. And usually it's only because I know my own features, and those features get transferred into the men that I draw. However, there have been only 2 instances that I sincerely went, okay, like I'm just going to go with the reference that I have. And in this case, the reference was me. So it is truly a self-portrait of types. So yeah, it's a figurative painting. I started out with the figures in the distance, and Eric kept telling me, no, you have to get closer, you have to get closer. So I realized pretty soon this was not going to be an environment. It was going to be about the people and the tools that they had.
And was it an assignment from Eric specifically that it would be a self-portrait, or
No.
that was just happened to be the case because you
Because I couldn't get a reference model, that's why.
exactly. Okay, well, it's always nice to have a good reference model at hand.
Yeah.
Well, before we reveal it, can we have a loud cheer for the reveal for Eric Curiosa for making this possible? Woo! Woo, woo, woo! The second reveal of this day. Thank you very much, Eric Curiosa.
Okay.
And now the big moment.
The painting is called Flame of the First Ones. There was some hints dropped on the Sorcery page last night about this piece, and they showed a tiny fragment of it, but here it is for the first time ever to the public at SorceryFest Europe.
Here we go. Woo. Nice one.
So it's all about the torch. The torch is an artifact, and that is the nature of what the card will be focused towards, is the artifact. It was important to get closer and closer to that.
Yeah.
Hi in the middle looks like Jeff.
You think?
Well, yeah, maybe a little bit younger, but a bit more hair, even, I think. So that's the thing with self-portraits. You have to do it a little bit better than actually.
Than the reality.
Yeah, than reality. Yeah, well, I would have done that if I were an artist. So, any last comments or questions about the art? Maybe some questions from the audience?
Ron?
Oh, we have a sketch.
Oh, whoa, even more.
Yeah.
Oh dear, even a sketch.
This is how the piece started. This is how the concept began in my mind, and I was much more comfortable with the figures being distant. But because the torch was much less significant in this drawing, Eric kept wanting me to focus in on that. So I had to change the entire perspective, and that's when I knew that I had to get a better figure reference.
Nice. Really, really beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
It's also very beautiful to see the development of from a sketch to the actual art.
This is what a piece looks like in my sketchbook when I first get the idea. It is very, very simplified. But when I get a direction that I want to go in, I will take that simple process and strengthen it quite a bit. And this is what I would show to Eric for approval or comments or changes before it gets to something as developed as the finish was.
Any last questions? Yes?
Jeff, so you decided to paint mostly in grayscale, aside from the flame.
Correct.
Is it because it's that you want to draw attention on?
That's part of it. So, yeah, he's asking about my color choice here. And there are a couple of contributing factors. One is that when a piece has a very reduced color range, it makes you feel like it's from an old movie or an old photograph. So it immediately feels like something from a time long ago. And that was important to the storytelling in this piece. It had to be from a distant past. And the other is that by reducing the color behind the torch and only putting the color in the torch, it strengthens the importance of that item. So those two things together, I think both contributed.
Okay. I think one last question from Felix. Felix?
Is it just me, or maybe is it a bit more unusual for you to have like more like non-two-dimensional things? Like it looks like it's like going out on he's like basically.
Oh, you mean the depth?
Yeah, the depth. That's what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. The depth of the picture is something that's maybe not like very common for you.
Well, usually because I'm doing those larger landscape areas, you don't see as much depth except for perspective. But in this case, because you were looking at objects closer to you, then depth is a much more featured idea.
Any last comment on it?
Happy to see it out in the field, and thanks to SorceryFest and Eric's Curioso. Thank you.
Okay, hands up for Jeff Eric's Curiosa. Woo!
Hey everybody, and we are back now with
Jeff Menges.
The legendary. You should have added that.
the legendary.
That's for you to add.
I added it, so all good. I think it's definitely worth editing.
And of course,
Jürgen.
Jürgen also back for this review.
And also legendary.
Well, he's working on that. Yeah.
Definitely. Let's keep it to that.
No,
Yes.
no, one of the founding members, I think, of the community. So yeah,
I think
it
I
helps.
was one of the first ones who did
Yeah.
sorcery content right after I backed the Kickstarter. Yes, that's true. But
Perfect.
all good. We're here to definitely talk about Jeff and the painting. And we just did the reveal in the other room with the players.
Yep.
And the response was absolutely crazy. Everybody
Good.
was really positive about it and liked it.
Yeah.
So in general, I think that's a big, good start to have a reveal that is received positively by the players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the background of the thing you're going to reveal before we reveal it? Or,
Sure,
yeah?
a little.
Yeah.
The painting is called Flame of the First Ones, and it was I was asked to paint an image of very early people and some of the importance that fire would have to them and the artifact that would be responsible for carrying that fire. So I experimented with early lantern designs. I looked at a lot of really old carrying devices for fire. And I eventually settled on a torch as being both a good subject for someone to grip and also for being able to display a larger flame. So I wanted this torch to be symbolic of leading people out of a dark space, and I wanted it to be about. I wanted the focus to be on that torch, not necessarily the area surrounding it. So we started off with some earlier sketches, and the torch was much less significant in my earlier explorations, but Eric kept tuning me into the idea that the object carrying the flame was important. So I had to change my perspective on the assignment. And in doing so, it became a much more figuratively based piece. So I had my wife take a couple of photographs of me holding up a empty light bulb with nothing on it so that I could get the way that the light would fall on the carrier properly.
Mm-hmm.
And this piece came out of that.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I think it's good to show it. Then it's more easy to talk about it. So
People in the chat are very excited to
yeah,
see it. So,
I thought so as well.
Yeah.
Maybe it's good to
So I'll
first show it
show
and then
this.
talk about it a little more. There it is.
So Flame of the First Ones.
Is this our microphone, Richard? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe yes.
I didn't want to put it in front of.
No,
Yeah.
definitely not. But I think it's good, and then people can hear Jeff talking well.
So I'd be happy to take some questions
Yeah.
from your crew.
Flame of the First Ones.
So
Let's
he
see, can we?
already asked about the art and the process of it. So original sorcery art, just casually put up against that bench.
Maybe not.
Maybe on the other side. That's
I can hold it for you.
No, it's all right.
It's okay.
I'll hold it here. That's
Yeah.
all right.
on the camera.
There you go.
There you go.
That works fine.
That's perfect. No, you just mentioned, and that's why it's better to have the piece on camera as well. You just mentioned that you took a couple of, your wife took a couple of photographs on you, and you said
Yes.
it in the other room during the reveal for the players as well, that you are actually in this one. And
Well, what happens is that when you live in the middle of nowhere, you don't have a lot of access to people to call on for models. So I needed the reference. I told my wife what I was looking for. She saw some of the early sketches, and I held up a lamp with no shade on it so that I could get the distribution of the light properly. And instead of fighting the reference and changing the figure, I just went with it. So it winds up looking a lot more like me than most of my other work does.
I think it's very cool. It's kind of a self-portrait. I think that's how Ron called it, but I think it definitely is. And in the end, hey, it's cool to be eternalized in your own work, right? That makes you even more legendary, if even possible.
Now we hope it's a playable card.
Yeah, I hope
it doesn't
yes,
end up
yeah.
in the gold box. So, do you know the art by Jeff? Who? What? Oh, nice. So the reaction in the chat also is very positive. Very cool.
Good to hear.
A question from Sophie: is it symbolic of one of the earliest way to ward off evil by means of fire?
That specificity was not in the direction.
Okay.
It had to be early people, and they were carrying fire, and the fire was where the focus needed to be.
Cool.
That is about as much direction as I got, and usually they don't like to explain too much about what the purpose is. They would rather things remain a mystery until it's out there.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's super cool to see that you kept this one pretty much black and white, if I may call it like that, or gray tones. And the torch itself, of course, comes out even brighter because of that.
Exactly.
That was intentional to focus on that specific artifact, I think you called it, when you talked about it over there.
A lot of early painters in illustration would use the strength of a single color to pull focus to something. So it's not so much a color here as much as it is, I guess in a way it is because of the bright color of the flame. And the fact that it is the only piece of the painting that has a dominant hue instead of just being grayscale gives it an extra level of importance, and it stands out amongst everything else. So
it really draws your eyes to it.
Right.
And then second, to the reflection in the face of the carrier of the torch.
Yep. The highlight.
Nice.
No, I think that's very cool. You also mentioned, and you got a couple of sketches with you, we are able to show as well, which I think is very cool. You mentioned that you started out a little further away, which is normally what you do in your paintings, right? A bit more landscapey.
Yep.
If I may
Figures are less significant.
Yeah.
I like to do the environment around them more than the figure itself.
Also like harassing ruffians.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, important figures, but
that's much more my style, for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
And then you got the feedback that you need to zoom in closer.
Exactly.
Okay, so Eric was the one who was giving you this feedback?
Yeah, but this piece went through a lot of versions, both in my head and with discussion with Eric. I had a difficult time finding my own level of contentment with it. And I knew that the torch, again, was to be the most significant thing. And I thought that maybe with color direction, something like this, that even though the torch would be small, the color might carry it off as being important.
Yeah.
But I didn't submit color sketches, so that might have been
difficult to visualize for the one who was looking at the sketches.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And difficult for me to communicate.
True. Yeah. I get it. Do you want to show some of the sketches to
Sure.
illustrate the process, the difficult process of getting where you are in the end?
So when I had more of an environment around the image, this was the first draft of an idea. Not before, I didn't submit this yet, but this was the kind of focus that I thought I wanted to go with initially. I wanted the figures to be wholly visible, and I wanted them to be smaller part of the whole painting.
I see you used the reference for the card, the text block.
Yeah, it's always good to know if you're cutting off feet, or if somebody, like if I had that torch raised too high, it might get cut off by the text box.
Yeah.
So I always have to know where that text box is going to cut in and where the feet of my figures are going to be, just so I'm not uncomfortable with the way that the text box reacts to the piece.
Yeah, super interesting to see.
So yeah, all of my sketches start off about the size of a card, and then I blow them up to this big to fit them into the template, and then I trace over that. And in this case, I went a little further and added another figure deeper in the cavern structure. But this was what I first showed to Eric in our discussion when he said, we need to focus more on the torch. And that's how we got to this step, with a few other sketches in between those two.
I think it would have been a cool Arthurian Legends piece as well. Yeah, because
It's a nice shirt.
it makes a nice shirt. That's a good idea for the next goodies you're gonna add to your stuff to sell, Jeff.
Yeah.
I personally think not only you said the torch is a bit small. I don't think it's small, but
It was in the
the sketches.
Yeah,
That's what you meant.
This is the right focus here.
Okay, and the different shading of gray adds to the not only the color of the torch, but the lighting around, or the shading of gray around the torch adds to the prominence, or the torch being very present, importance of it as well. Yes.
There's a question about that in the chat.
Cool.
If the grayscale was in the original brief, or just something you or Eric were iterating on over the course of the work?
It was something that developed in the painting process.
Okay.
I came upon the painting doing it in a grayscale style, and when I realized how much the focus could benefit from not having color elsewhere in it, it came to me that this could be a really good way to present the idea and to give me the focus I wanted. So when I showed it to Eric, I said, I know that it doesn't have a full range of color, but I think that works to its advantage, and he agreed with that idea.
No, I think it definitely does. Yeah. Does it get, at a certain point, you said you went through a lot of these sketches to find the right voice for this painting.
I did for this one. Yeah.
Does it get a bit frustrating at a certain point when you think like, it's still not quite there? Or does it actually trigger you to continue and find that exact right voice you wanna have to get out there?
Sometimes concept can elude you for quite a while. Some assignments are very tangible things like creatures or specific structure, but this is a conceptual idea that I'm trying to portray, and those can be quite tricky. So even though I had this assignment very early on in the whole grand scheme of working on Gothic, I probably thought about this piece and worked on some other ones, and thought about this piece and maybe did a sketch that didn't work so well, and then worked on some other ones. So it took a long time to cycle around before I got a handle on how to go forward with this concept.
I get it. No, that sounds reasonable. Yeah, sometimes good things take time, but in the end, I think it worked out really well. Great. And I only can speculate about the card that painting will be used for. I personally, now at this moment, total speculation, I'm inclined to think that it's about the torch itself as an artifact or something, and not about the whole group. But actually, we got some news about that as well, at least news that there will be the possibility to know what the card will be after a while, if the people actually do something, right?
Yeah. According to the sorcery folks there,
okay.
When there's enough draw on the post that will accompany this, they will later on reveal the card itself.
Okay.
So it will be following shortly, hopefully, as long as we get enough hits on the page.
Okay, so that's a job for the community there.
Definitely.
So,
Yeah, I'm very curious.
Man.
I think it's going to be on the official Sorcery Facebook.
Yeah.
There's going to be an announcement post, probably with pictures of this, and then if that Facebook post gets around, I think it was around 4,000 likes, the card will be revealed.
Yep.
Okay.
Which would be really cool and achievable, I think. So I'm curious. So do your best.
Yeah.
Hit that like button on Facebook once the post is up, so we can see what the card actually is and see if that
We'll have
speculation about the artifact is a correct one. You never
We'll
know.
make an announcement here to
Yeah.
get everybody also
To like it. If
to
you got
like it.
multiple accounts, just hit like with every account. Use your kids' accounts, everything you have.
all your family.
Yeah.
And,
No, but I think that would be fantastic to know.
yeah.
No.
So I see in the chat a lot of people are excited to see this card in foil.
Oh, it should look great in
I
foil.
think so, with just
Oh,
the torch popping off. like-
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
true. I think.
Yeah, high contrast seems to be a real key to making a foil card look snappy.
Yeah.
So this piece should look great in foil.
At some point, you have to come back and sign it for us.
Or yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, we'll fix
I'll-
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
I think
another
Jeff enjoys it
interesting
here,
thing
so
might
he
be-
definitely
do
will be back.
We saw the reveal by Mattias
Mm-hmm.
later today, and he also works on board.
Yeah,
Is that something you do also?
yeah.
Always,
It's a
or-
very similar board
Yeah.
to what he was using. I think it's a little thinner, and it's generally what I've been painting on for the last 20 years. It's either a masonite or an MDF board. It's got 4 or 5 layers of gesso on it,
Yeah.
sanded down with a rotary sander, so it has a smooth glass-like finish, and then I just paint right on top of that. But
there's-
it does
there's
take a
some-
long
Yeah.
long process to go through
Yeah.
before I'm ready to get on a board. You know.
Okay, so you have lots of boards prepared, and
I
at
do.
some point you have to
I do. I
make them again.
buy 2 foot by 4 foot sheets and prepare a couple at a time, and then I just cut them up as I need them.
Nice.
Very cool. Do we have any more questions from the chat?
Oh, might be a difficult one to ask. Not to ask, but to answer. So, what would you paint? And I think then for sorcery, or maybe not even, if given free reign on a card. Yeah, on a card. So no direction at all, Jeff.
Is that Chase?
Might be.
Could have been chased.
That's its secret account.
Yeah.
Free reign on a card. Oh,
Yeah.
geez. I don't know. I do tend to like seascape a lot.
Seascape.
I like doing seascapes, whether it's coastlines or sailing ships. I like doing a lot of seascape work for sure.
We need more sea serpents.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We haven't seen one from you yet.
No, you haven't.
In sorcery.
Nope.
No. Oh, we haven't.
Not yet. Not yet.
So let me see if a lot of people talking about how the foiling would look, and that is something that Curiosa does very well. The foiling of the
I've
cards.
never seen better.
No, and for me personally, it's all about the full art on the back.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's maybe a little treasure there hidden behind the text
Right.
box.
Right.
Yeah, that's always cool.
Like that. So no more questions here.
No, then
Oh, the Atlantis set, says Sophie. Maybe a set about Atlantis by Jeff.
Nice idea. I like it.
yeah,
good.
maybe mini set like the Dragon Lord set. Then just that theme.
I'm not paying you anything.
No. We want it. It's okay. It's okay. I'm just happy to see the cards and the artwork. So that's payment enough.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. Did
So
you?
maybe just a question for you, how it is as an artist to have maybe a bit of a resurgence after your early days in Magic and now getting involved into a new card game.
Yeah. No, it's been a great ride so far. I love working with the team from Sorcery, and I've probably worked on 15 or 20 different card games since, but in between, and a lot of them have been a lot of fun, and but they kind of come and go, and in what seems like a small amount of time. You have to remember, I've been working on sorcery painting since 2018. So
That's
it's
a long time ago.
almost 7 years already
Yeah.
that I've been working with this company. And there have been few teams that are more passionate about their product, more consistently supportive of the creative community behind it. So my hats are off to them, and as long as I can continue to contribute in a positive way, I'm thrilled to be a part of it. So thanks.
Yeah, we hope to see lots more of your art in the
Definitely.
coming years.
Thanks, Richard.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. Did the process for you in general, because the art direction of the different sets is different, did the process for you change from Alpha Beta to Arthurian Legends to Gothic now? Did you approach it differently, or is it just in the painting and in the brief at the moment, and then it comes out more dark for Gothic and more heroic for Arthurian Legends, or more fantasy for Alpha Beta? Generalizing, of course, but you know what I mean?
No, there's a little difference in that. There's the Alpha Beta set, because it was a long time in development. There was a lot more time to contemplate development. Even at the assignments coming a year apart, now we're in a rotation. So when the assignment is given, we have a finite amount of time before it's got to go to press.
Yeah.
And getting those in and approved is all part of an illustrator's job, and that's a big part of the task. Because you can do some great work, but if you can't get it in on time, then you're not helping the product and you're not helping yourself. So that's one part of it. But the other thing is that when doing a set like Gothic that has a dark theme, or doing a set like Arthurian Legends that has a kind of a pristine air about it, I might choose inspirational pieces, whether they be classical paintings or vintage illustrations, and I'll print out a few of those things and put them on my drawing board or my table,
Just as a
to kind of just give me the right energy and the right vibe that I want to try and put in my pieces, and let them inspire me to create new stuff.
That's very cool. I think you told me before as well that you read a lot to get things right. Does the reading, not only the visual inspiration, but does the reading change as well together with the different flair of the different sets?
That's a great idea, but not as much. For me, it's about the visuals when I sit down to draw. But believe me, if you're working on a set like Gothic and you're reading Dracula, it's going to help you a lot more.
It's going to help you a lot. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. Definitely.
Because you start to see those images in your head, and when you see them in your head, it helps form the things that you're putting on a painting or a drawing.
Interesting. So we're looking forward to more vampires from you in Gothic then.
Well, more creepy stuff.
More creepy stuff.
Yeah. And we don't want to...
Definitely more creepy stuff.
Gets good. It can be... I imagine it can be a bit difficult having an interview like this and knowing more of sorcery than we all know.
Right. No, there's a limit to what I can say. Yeah, it's a dance.
Slip of the tongue.
It is a careful dance that we have to play.
Yeah,
especially during a live stream.
Yeah.
Nothing, no possibility.
No take backsies.
But you were checking.
I might have said too much already. I don't know.
Nah,
Find out later.
I think just check your phone if it's like vibrating constantly. Chase is on the case. Yeah, definitely. No, but I think personally, this is a little different than what I'm used to from you. And I like it.
Okay.
No, I really do, because normally you use very warm colors. We know your art, and especially we talked about that when we revealed the Harassing Ruffians, the warm autumn colors and these kind of things. And you were talking about that very fondly, and the possibility of adding not only the painting itself, but also the color scheme to what the painting needs to portray. And I think less color here is exactly the right choice, and it brings out that torch, it brings out that focus on the center of the painting when it is the torch. I think that's very cool. I honestly like it a lot. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay.
Very cool.
So, if you don't have any further questions,
I'm good for now, and
Jeff, that's good
yeah,
as well.
yeah. Then I think we are very happy to
right.
have you
Yeah.
here and to have that reveal.
It's great to be
Yeah.
here. Thanks.
Thanks for coming, Jeff, and
Yeah.
being part of SorceryFest. And
Thanks for having me, Richard.
everyone, we'll see you later in the top 8. Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.
guys.
Have a good one.